What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ruben, just coming to you. God laid on my heart that I should do these videos once a week, drop them every Friday, and we're going to entitle this Good Grief Friday. So we're going to talk about what good grief looks like. I was challenged by a friend of mine when I was kind of telling my situation and things of that nature, and the question was asked of me, what does that look like? You know, what does grief look like? What does that look like? And what it prompted me to do was to evaluate within myself what grief looked like to me. So I've done some listening to different people and all that stuff, and there's this one interesting person I saw or heard that was being interviewed, and he talked about going to prison. And in his conversation about going to prison, he was like, you know, how do I survive in prison? You know, what do I need to do? So he was going around the county jail asking different people, and they would tell him, hey, you got to join a gang. You know, that's the main thing you got to do. You got to get with a gang. You got to get connected to somebody pretty quick. And so he ran across this old head who was kind of a career criminal. And the old head asked him, told him, he said, hey, let me tell you how to survive in prison. He says, imagine prison being a boiling pot of water, and you take 3 items and you put into this boiling pot of water. He said the first item is a carrot, second item is an egg, and then the third item is a coffee bean. And as he began to tell this story, God reminded me that grief itself can be a prison. And so there's many people that are dealing with grief right now. You're dealing with the loss of a loved one. You're dealing with the loss of a spouse, of a child, you know, the loss of a friend, the loss of just a major loss right now. And so God inspired me to tell this story from the perspective of grief. So grief represents the boiling pot of water. So if you put a carrot in a boiling pot of water, what happens to the carrot? The carrot gets soft. Put it in, it's hard. You put it in a boiling pot of water and it gets soft. And God said to me, in many cases, people have grief overtake them, and all of a sudden they get soft. You know what soft looks like? It's like, man, I just don't care. I just want to sleep all day. I just don't want to move around. I don't want to be in the mix. I don't want to be around people. I just need to be by myself. I need to process this by myself. And you become soft. But if you take that same boiling pot of water, which in this scenario represents grief, and you put an egg in it, what happens to an egg in a boiling pot of water? It gets hard. Or should I say the inside gets hard. So grief has the ability to overtake the egg, or overtake us in many cases, to where we get hard on the inside. And the funny thing I noticed about the egg is that it didn't change what it looked like on the outside, meaning you still look the same. You still, you're still functioning, but all of a sudden now your heart is hard. You're hard on the inside. And so God has shared this with me. He said the thing about the egg is, and when we become hard on the inside, is that we lose the capacity to love and the capacity to receive love. It's because we became hard on the inside. We look the same on the outside, just like the egg, which is overtaken by the grief, which represents the boiling pot of water. But then he said something that was extremely interesting to me and blew me away. He said, what happens to a coffee bean when you place the coffee bean inside of boiling hot water? Well, if any of you coffee drinkers out there know, once you put a coffee bean in boiling hot water, it can no longer be called water. It is now called coffee. And here's what that means, and what God shared with me through this young man telling this story. It's not my story. I'm just sharing what someone said. God shared me, he said, even in our grief, we can choose to be a coffee bean, because it's the coffee bean that affects everything around it, not everything around it affecting the coffee bean. And I was sitting and having breakfast with a young man a couple weeks ago, and we were sharing the same story. He said, Ruben, he said, but the thing about coffee is, he says, when I become the coffee bean, and now I am no longer just affected by my situation, but I'm changing my situation and I'm affecting my situation. He says, then now I'm coffee, and I can pour some into someone else, and I can pour some with you. Because think about it right now. If you go to Starbucks right now, the line is, a drive-through line is around the corner. He said, because everybody wants some coffee. So I challenge you today, even in your grief, you can choose to be the carrot. Be soft, give up. You know, we have a saying in the car business. We say it's 4th and 20 on your 20. What you gonna do? You can punt. You can give up. You can throw in the towel. Or you can be the egg. That person that's hard on the inside. Look the same on the outside. People don't even know how to take you because you look like you normally look, but your heart is hard. Your soul is hard. And you're missing on an opportunity to either give love or receive love. Or you can be that coffee bean. You can change the dynamics. So my question to you is, what does grief look like for you? Think about it. Listen, check back with me next Friday. We got 8 more of these to go. I don't know what God's gonna give me, but every week He promised He's gonna give me something to give. And so I challenge you on today to just keep, like the video, share the video, pass it on to friends, but watch the video. And I'll try to make them shorter. But, God bless you. And I just pray that you have a great Friday. Let's make it a great weekend. And let's do it big. Look forward to seeing you soon. Talk to you later. Bye.